going on, guys? Reed here again. Reed back with you. Reed going to give you the knowledge. Reed going to help you understand. Reed about to help you break those chains. Reed going to liberate you. Why? I guarantee. I guarantee. Hey, we're going to have a very interesting discussion today. It's on my series that Narcissism as a Network. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying very desperately, I'm trying hard to get you to understand when the sick narc is standing in front of you grinning with that cheesy smile, that perverted grin and the stink that they have, when they're standing in front of you showing you the sparkly things, and it's just the sparkly things are only to design to hide the things that they're planning on torturing you with. When you see these dogs, these pigs in front of you, everything, you have to understand that you're not dealing only with that idiot, you're dealing with everything that created that idiot. And that idiot will never be in front of you unless that idiot was fully prepared. These cowards don't do anything by themselves. They don't want to get hurt at all. Oh my God, they go through everything they can do to stay covert and to stay hidden. They don't want you to find out exactly what they've been doing to you all of these decades. Man, they've been getting it in behind your back and you don't even know it. Remember the times it seems like things are just so hard, how are you going to get along? You remember the task you're trying to do that was never ending, you could never complete it, Remember the things that seem to be so hard to do while you saw people going by you with ease? Yeah, it's time like that. You're under attack and you don't even know it. It comes up as a failure to thrive and an inability to sort of maintain control over you and your environment. And the reason why is from the background, they make the changes in your reality without even consulting you. And when these changes don't match what your brain normally expects, it results in psychological, emotional discomfort for you and specifically for you. But this type of abuse and this type of alienation cannot be detected by the people around you, nor can the alienation that ensues. The whole purpose that the evil, sick people have is to alienate you from everyone else. And here's the reason why. Alienation has a type of quality to it. It's that when the person feels the alienation, they feel that intense pain and discomfort, but it doesn't dissipate when you're around people. You can be in a crowd of 1,000 people and still feel the torture of alienation. And if you try to speak to any of those people about what's happening internally, they wouldn't get it. They wouldn't understand it at all. That's why when you reach out for help against a narcissist, psychopath, and sociopath, the people likely call you crazy. But definitely turn against you. At best, they can be indifferent to you, like, no, I'll go over there. But in most of the cases, they simply talk to the narc and wind up targeting you anyway. They end up reframing you in a completely different way and putting that on their network so other people find out about and hold you accountable for it. So when you're in front of the sick narc, these sick animals, understand that you're dealing with something that your ancestors and all humanity struggle with. And they warned you about these people. We went back through that. Remember in the 1800s, Dracula and Dr. Van Helsing. Remember that? Listen to me. What did he say? Listen to me, or something like, come to me, or something like that. And the doctor said, no. We go back in the 1600s, and we get the Pied Piper. This character coming to town with his rats, offer to get rid of the rats for $1,000, I guess, and then kills everybody's children when they don't pay up. Because they said, hey, we've never had a rat infestation before. This only came when you came, and now you play a musical flute and you can get rid of all the rats. No, we're not paying you. What he did, he killed all their kids. I mean, unalived them, all of their kids. Classic representation of a narcissist. And he definitely had a network behind him because how can he manage all those kids? But the network is hidden. They thought that they were dealing with the individual, they were actually dealing with the network. And that's how the network presents. You engage with a node, and that narc is only but a node on this sick network. And you go before that, back 2025 years ago, when Jesus Christ was walking around here, he referred to these people as dogs. He said, don't give your pearls to dogs, something like that. No, he don't give your whatever you have valuable, don't give it to dogs. He said, because they'll consume it and then they'll turn on you. Right? He said it. He called them pigs. Right? That was the proper orientation in that climactic conversation between Satan and Jesus and on the mountain. He basically rejected everything Satan had to give him. Didn't want any parts of it. He understood that Satan was just a node, but the network was still the real issue. Why would he have to handle? Why would he go and live in someone else's network? And Jesus said, absolutely not. Just ignore him. Even if you go back earlier through sort of prehistoric times, the concept comes up within yin and yang. Yin is all growth, yang is all destruction, right? And basically, Satan is decay. Everything that has to degrade impacts you. And although it has no inherent meaning, you assign it the meaning. You assign decay the meaning of loss and things like that when you shouldn't have been attached to it in the first place. Why? Because it decays, right? So here in this discussion, we're going to have a conversation about Donald Trump, Epstein, and Princess Diana. And how is this connected? For what I remember of Princess Diana, she wasn't a part of the rich class. She was a common woman. And when she got into that culture, she didn't fit well, and I believe she exited that culture, and this story picks up where Donald Trump and Epstein allegedly makes a bet to see who can sleep with her first. So it's interesting from this perspective. Princess Diana being a commoner, coming from a commoner's background, she runs into someone who's of high esteem in the United States, well known, talks are very successful, talks are a lot of things. Everything is sparkly, everything is gold, right? I mean, just selling everything, right? So he's in front of her during their contact, apparently trying to woo her. But what she probably wasn't aware of is how deadly the network that he's attached to, how powerful it is and how deadly it is. That network is so powerful that it eventually shut down Congress to prevent from releasing the content. And if that network is that powerful, then there's no way victims are going to be able to speak up. No way. So here is a person who really doesn't understand the extent of what she could get into. So I just pulled up an article. And I just want to read through it just to give you some context. Okay, here. Okay, look at here. Jeffrey Epstein, Trump bet who sleeps first with Princess Diana. Okay, here. Former President Donald Trump and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein once made a bet over who could seduce Princess Diana first. Okay. Wolf, the veteran reporter best known recently for his trilogy on the Trump White House. Okay. said that he had a secret source when writing the first book, and it was Trump's old friend, Jeffrey Epstein. Wow. His latest exploits claim, which Newsweek has not independently verified, has made an episode 22 of the podcast Fire and Fury, released on Friday, 5 days before the culmination contested between Trump and Vice President. Okay, Okay, Wolf details what he says was a close relationship between Trump and Epstein, the convicted sex offender who died in 2019. Okay, great. I probably have 100 hours of Epstein talking about the inner workings of the Trump White House and about how long-standing deep relationship with Trump, Wolf would said on his podcast. Okay. He described Trump and Epstein as two playboys, very much styled themselves as playboys in that Hugh Hefner sense, who paled around for the better part of 15 years before making a claim about the later princess. Okay. I mean, there was one point in which he had a competition about who would be the first one who would sleep with Princess Diana first. However, now I don't think that happened. Okay, so there were other stories later on that sort of described his interactions with Princess Diana, trying to pursue her, and then later she's speaking up. And she's saying that, she's referring to it as harassment and things like that. And you can sort of see how forward and how persistent these people are, and apparently giving her gifts and things like that, still trying to lure her and bait her in. And I believe had she entered that network, I think it would have been very difficult for her because I don't think that she had the power to challenge the system that she was in. Now, here, now, one of the reasons why they thought, I'm reading one of the reasons why they believe Epstein and Trump put such an emphasis on getting connected with the Princess Diana, because that would give them social credit by having direct access to the royal family. Given access to the royal family, as you can see here, here it is, Trump, Melania, and then Princess Andrew right here. Okay, now we go from here it is, Trump, Melania, and Princess Andrews. Okay, Princess Andrews. Now look at this. Here we are here, Princess Andrews. Here is the victim who suicided. And here's the lady who's negotiating in jail. This whole present, and this was the young lady who got the job at Mar-a-Lago. And so we see this connection here. You have Trump, Mar-a-Lago. You have Prince Andrew. Now we have the victim here who recently suicided. And I think this is like a handling process where when the victim enters the Mar-a-Lago, she's everybody's happy. I mean, everybody's smiling at her. I mean, they treat her with respect. They treat her nice. They make her feel wanted, things like that. But basically, they're just handling her. They're giving her what she wants to say. Giving her the facial expressions and all the reactions that will make her less likely to pick up how dangerous, how sadistic and awful these people are. So they're hiding their predatory behaviors and their true intentions with everyone's smiles and gestures. And this is a collective event. So we see her go as a teenager, and I think she's a teenager in this photograph also. But you see her going as a teenager and being handled through Mar-a-Lago, and she arrives here with the prince. And you see Donald doing his work on both sides. One on one side of the royal family here, and another providing services and providing women for him. It seems like that happened. Now, let me go to the next thing here. Okay. So I'll put here, what beauty pageants did Trump own? Okay. Trump owned the Miss UHA pageant, Miss Universe, and Miss Teen USA. And so it seemed that Trump, that's a path, that's access to women that can be sourced for this type of organization, and so it's just a very interesting connection. Um, then I went ahead and went on this grok here, and I put in. Give me a list of people who visited Epstein Island. Okay, and look at this. Look at the full range of people here, and why was this Epstein person, so important, and why did he have so much political pull that he would get presidents and senators and all the elite in every category, in absolutely every category, they're part of. They're visiting him at his house. So the political figures, again, the member of the royal family, Bill Clinton. When he was in office, there was a lot of sexual scandals and things like that. There was a lot of sexual scandals. Okay, yeah, Donald Trump, right? Okay, Bill Richardson, governor of Mexico, um, George Mitchell, former U.S. senator. I mean, I think that's significant. And these people are coming multiple times. I think, look, business and entrepreneurial. Oh my God, this is what he's like I think Victoria's Secret, the Gap, seeing Victoria's Secret's women lingerie modeling and things like that. You know, I don't know, hedge fund manager. Okay, I know. Look, Bill Gates. Wow. You know, Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft. Richard Branson. You know, these are some very important people. So, let's say Trump is worth maybe $5 billion, and how much is Bill Gates worth? And this is just one person on this list. You know, look at the celebrities, and this was very disappointing right there. Many of the people I looked up to. Look at the people I look up to. I always looked at Bill Clinton because he did a lot for African American. He was perceived to have done a lot for African American. At least he acted like it. Um, so just really admired him. Really admire Bill Gates. Both of them read their autobiographies. I mean, loved their stories. You know, Bill Clinton's story from coming from poverty in North Carolina, born with a single mother who had a stepfather who was physically abusive to his mother, and apparently he had to conflict. He had to confront the guy. He started politics very early, and here Bill Gates. I mean, this guy was just a model, and Richard Branson always seemed to be like the nice uncle, fatherly type, and everything. You would never think that he would be involved with people like this. Michael Jackson. Look, David Copperfield, Kevin Spacey. Ooh, Kevin Spacey. Okay, look, Naomi Campbell. So this may be Naomi Campbell. Naomi Campbell may be the connection to Diddy, right? Okay, Bruce Willis, Clay Blanchett. Look, Leonardo DiCaprio. Hmm. Mick Jagger, right? Um, Look, and then academics. Wow, Stephen Hawkins, the physicist. Wow, these people who visited his island and who may be a part of this network are very powerful people. And I'm not sure if, and we'll see whether or not, it seems like Trump is going to do everything he can to keep this silent, because his priority is to protect that network. That network. And so this current situation gives you an idea of how serious this is. So let me see if I can sort of sum this up, if I can. And then I think I'll be out. Um, overall, um, um, overall, I'm trying to help you understand when that um, sick narcissist is in front of you, create smiling and acting like they're not doing what they're actually doing. You're not fighting against, you have to remember, you're not fighting against flesh or blood. So you're actually dealing with an idiot in front of you. You have to deal with your safety and things that goes along with dealing with the idiot in front of you. But you have to remember that you have been enrolled in this cosmic battle between good and evil. And this is like your contribution to eliminating this type of darkness from the places that you're around. I don't tolerate these sick people around me at all. And I think they understand it. And so you have to be able to create a space around you where their sickness is not tolerated whatsoever. Um, because I understand how severe this situation is and how serious it can get very quickly. So, if you are dealing with a narcissist, psychopath, a sociopath, make sure you get help right away. Make sure you get as much support and make sure that you get a healthcare provider that is completely separate and independent because they will contact your doctors. They will threaten your doctors to take their perspective, which is against you. So make sure that you take this seriously and join me my next podcast. Oh, I have a few. Anyone would like to have any input and anything like this? Any input? Okay. If not, let me see. Oh, okay. I have some questions here. Let me ask you questions. Okay, great, great. Okay, let me see here. Hey, Hannah. Hi, Doc. I'm really starting to get scared of these narcs. Join club. Are they everywhere? Yep. In each country? Yep. Yes, yes, yes. Um, everyone's born in a primitive state, and you have to grow and evolve. And I think it's more like a pyramid. When you evolve, there are fewer of us there. And any level below yours is going to be intolerable. It's going to be tough to deal with. And so that's what you just let go attachments to whatever below your level of consciousness and instead stick with your own. It's your level of consciousness. That's the only thing that works. Many times we start to try to go out and help, meaning we're going to leave our level of consciousness and we're going to descend down to a level, another level of consciousness, and basically physically move the patient from where they at to where you at. But then the physical displacement from your house or your community or it doesn't have anything to do with the cognitive, with the consciousness level. So, okay, so someone's having some problems. I need some help with this. Okay, you helping them out with that doesn't actually solve the problem of a lack of consciousness. So you're only taking your energy and your resources and you're just wasting them. None of the things that you can actually do when you engage with them would actually help them with the process of increasing their consciousness, because it always have to do with them rejecting everything outward and turning inward. And how are you going to tell people they shouldn't engage with anybody? You should be by yourself. You should learn to be alone until you are healthy alone, until you are feeling whole. And then after you get to that point, then you are healthy enough to engage with other people. But until then, you'll simply be looking for your adapter to make you whole. It doesn't make any sense. And if you ever engage with these people, you'll learn over time they take all the resources you have and they're ungrateful on the way out. And then they blame you for it. Okay, next question. Muhammad, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for the participation, Muhammad. I appreciate it. Why do powerful figures often share ties with the same inner circle? I have a few ideas about that. It involve things like secret societies and things like that. Um, you know, I think this collection of people have the power to enforce whatever they want. And so they simply don't have any boundaries. And so if they want it, they go ahead and take it. And if you participate in that club, there's no exit. You have to exit through death, right? Anybody who's at risk of exposing it, they have to exit through death. I think that's more of a power thing, power and privilege thing. Hey, Hannah, was Princess Diana a victim of narcissistic power play? I think she escaped. Yeah, I think she escaped it wisely, because I think that had she engaged in his world like that, I think that would have simply involved her in this a lot deeper, and I don't think that would have done her any good. But she was definitely engaged. See, looking at it in hindsight, and you see what Donald was doing for preparing for getting with the royals, and on the other side, what he's doing with facilitating trafficking and things like that. He's on both sides of that deal, but he's present, which on either side is deranged, devious, cunning, and disruptive. I mean, how many of you listeners out there would try to get in good with somebody's family? I mean, who does that? I mean, who plans to get in close with somebody's family? Has anyone out there ever did that? I can see if you're interested in someone, just really interested in them because you like them, but you're going to pursue this person because of the social benefit you get from having access to the family. This is that narcissistic logic and things like that. I think what helped him more was the photographs and the fit pictures, and it made this con man seem as if he was somebody really important, when really he's hustling and he's dealing and he's stealing from people and he's exploiting little girls and things like that. It's just awful. It's just awful. So he would be a part of a network like that. Okay. Hey, buddy, the president meets the mini diagnostic feature of yes, yeah. Hey, Max, how's it going, buddy? Appreciate your participation, bro. How do high-profile scandals distract from deeper systemic abuse? The scandals are for the public. The public is unconscious, so the public is only going to go for the sparkling things. They never talk about the mechanism of the trap. They only talk, and then we don't even talk about this process at all. When you think about how he is buying beauty pageants, which is full of a lot of immature young women who are looking for opportunity and access and everything through a career in modeling or entertainment, and their success is totally dependent upon your opinion. You determine if they're hot or not. And you have to work in that environment. I don't believe you can really say no in that environment. And how are you going to say no to the people who are willing to kill you if you still expect up about anything? Very interesting. Okay. Let's see here. Hey, Doc, how's it going? Is narcissistic personality disorder curable or treatable? Yes and no. In the West, the concept is likely no. Why? Because the problem is when the person's ego formed, it was stunted at a certain point. And because it did not develop beyond a certain point, then you cannot have those capabilities because it never developed. And so you would have to sort of get the ego and all those developmental things to sort of resume their development in order to get the architecture needed to have those cognitive experiences at that level. If you don't have the programming machinery or something like that, because it didn't develop, you'll never have that capacity. And so if a person's ego functioning did not develop to the point whereby they had the ability to look outside of their ego or question, if it doesn't get to the point where they can question their ego, then they're entombed within it, right? So let me just explain what I'm saying. The child is born and the child looks around, right? And the child gets hungry, right? So the child looks at mom, and mom looks at the child back and smile, and mom doesn't give the child food. The child ego says bad, and so what does the child do? Ah! I mean, this is a lot of force. I mean, for just hunger. I mean, this, you're gonna put the mom inside of a panic. Ah! Right? And what does mom do? Gives her the food. She take the food, baby stop. And then baby water. Baby water. And food, right? That's fine for 6 months, right? But what if that person's ego didn't develop any further? Now they're 16, right? Where's my food, mom? Mom, what, mom? Where's my food? Mom! Right? Right, mom! And everything is either good or bad, right? So that 16-year-old believes that mom is bad. They really do believe that. You're not doing this, mom. You're supposed to be a good mom. Do this. Get my food. You're supposed to be a good mom and get my food, right? So if he's locked in his ego, that's all he believes. Now, if his ego matured some, right, during that period of time from 6 months to 16 to 10 years, if his ego matured much, when he gets hungry, he should say, I'm hungry. Mom should get me some food. But before he opens his mouth, he said, okay, well, mom's not going to like it if I ask for some more food because the last time she got angry at me. So my ego says, mom need to give me some food. But then if I actually do it, mom's going to have a different perspective. So mom has a world. I have to consider mom's world. And after I consider mom's world, I think it's just best I get my own food because I don't want to get the mom's going to give me a conflict. And it went on for like 3 hours. So I don't want the conflict. So I'm just going to have to ignore my ego and then just go ahead and fix the food myself, right? So this person disagreed with their ego. They disagreed with what the ego was saying. And they chose something outside of it. Now, to turn away from something like that may take a lot of emotional, psychological pain to turn away from it. You know, it may be a lot to turn away from. You may have to say, damn, I just got to grow up. Or you have a friend say, man, why is your mama fixing your food? Your mama shouldn't be, guilt your ego. So you update the rules that you're going by. Okay, so the question is, narcissistic personality curable? Or it depends. If they're locked within their ego, then they're not going to be able to perceive anything else outside of it. But if they have some capacity, then they can simply grow. If they have some capacity, then they wouldn't be that severe of a narcissist in and of itself. And it's likely just insight. Well, you need to learn to consider this, learn to consider this, and they can sort of practice it over time and get. Okay, so we're at the 34-minute mark. Let me just sort of reiterate, narcissism is a network, and when that coward comes up to you and everything, the best thing to do is turn the other cheek and run. Because if you confront them, if you address them, if you do anything to them, they're going to take that, they're going to turn it around, they're going to amplify it, and they're going to let all the people, other people who are targeting, they're going to update them on the next scenario, and then you're going to get attacks, third-party attacks from everybody in that sick narcs network. So it's a pleasure. If you are being attacked by a narcissist, a network, these sick people, make sure you get yourself some help right away. You have to get a team to go up against a team. You can't do it by yourself. You're going to have your own doctors, your own providers, your own team that look out only your benefit. Okay, until then, weed out, and I'll talk to you guys later. Ciao.